thank you all very, very much. Chris said he was going to have a little gathering of volunteers to talk about how to get them involved in helping us in Frederick County, and I wasn't even supposed to be here, but I said, you know, I really want to come, and man, I'm glad I did, because this is like a who's who of Frederick politics. We're expecting a few people that were going to come and say we're ready to put up some signs and stuff some envelopes and help us get organized, and here we've got the sheriff and the state's attorney and the past state's attorney and delegates and senators, and we have a former congressman, my dad here, Larry Hogan Sr. So I just want to thank all of you very much for taking time out of your, I know you all got very busy schedules, so thanks for being here. I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I do want to talk a little bit about where we are with the campaign, because I think everybody's curious as to what we've been up to and how things have been going. Most of you know some of this already, so I don't want to give you the whole boring stump speech. I'll tell you more about what's happening with the campaign. But I started this group, Change Maryland, about 3 years ago. My dad, he's showing the Change Maryland shirt there. And I was really frustrated with what was happening in Annapolis. And I felt that we were way off track and heading in the wrong direction. And we needed a dramatic change in Annapolis, and that's why I started the group. And it was just me and a few fed-up friends. We've now grown into the largest and fastest growing grassroots organization in Maryland history. As of last week, we have 81,000 people involved, several thousand people from every single county in Maryland. And we've been focused on trying to bring fiscal responsibility and common sense to Annapolis. We've been leading the fight against the O'Malley-Brown administration on a lot of these issues. You know, when I was a cabinet secretary in the Ehrlich administration, I can tell you that when we turned the keys over to this current administration, we had a $2 billion cash surplus in the bank, and the state was in the best fiscal shape it's been in decades. And here we are 7 years later. They've increased spending by $10 billion. We increased spending at a rate, the National Governors Association last year said we increased spending by more than 46 other states. Only 3 states in the whole country increased spending the way Maryland did. And in order to pay for all that, they passed 40 consecutive tax hikes that have taken an additional $9.5 billion out of the pockets of struggling Maryland families and small businesses. They've been strangling our economy and killing our small businesses. We've lost 10 of our 13 Fortune 500 companies. 6,500 businesses have left the state. We've lost 100,000 jobs. Unemployment's nearly doubled. And things are really in bad shape financially. People are hurting. I've been talking around the state, and what I hear constantly is just frustration. Everybody is completely disgusted with politics as usual in Annapolis. And I hear over and over again that people feel as if our elected leaders are not only not solving the serious problems that face us, but they're actually causing the problems and making things worse. So a little over 30 days ago, I finally decided I had had enough. And it didn't look as if we had anybody that could run a competitive campaign in November. And after much encouragement from some of the people in this room and some other folks around the state, I decided to throw my hat in the ring to try to become your next governor. And I didn't do this lightly. You know, I'm not a professional politician. I'm a small businessman. I've never held elective office. I did serve as a cabinet secretary for 4 years, and I've been involved in politics and involved in the community for many years, but I've spent 25 years in the private sector. But I'm somebody who loves the state and was really concerned about the direction we were heading. And I didn't decide to do this out of a desire to be something, but out of I felt a sense of obligation that I needed to do something. So that's why I decided to step up. My total focus is on improving Maryland's economy. I'm concerned about jobs, middle-class taxpayers, and restoring our economy. And that's what this campaign's been all about. I know a lot of folks in this room are Republicans. I'm not sure if we have any Democrats here with us, but we're happy to have you if you are. My organization has really built a nonpartisan effort. We know in Maryland only 26% of the vote is Republican. It's nearly impossible for a Republican to win. We've built the largest organization in the state. Half of our members are Democrats and Independents. And they're just as fed up as we are with what's happening in Annapolis, and they're ready to vote for something different. So you hear a lot of talk these days about this is a race between the number 2 incumbent in the current administration and the number 3 incumbent in the current administration, right? That's all you hear about. Gansler and Brown, who's going to be our next governor, Gansler or Brown? I'm here to tell you that is not going to happen. The people of Maryland overwhelming majority of Marylanders, regardless of their party affiliation, want to see a dramatic change of direction in Annapolis. And neither one of those guys has any ability to deliver that change. We did a poll that says, I didn't walk away from my business for a year and put my time and effort and money and sweat into this just to be crazy, just to be, throwing myself on the sword. I'm running because I actually believe we can win and that we can change Maryland. So the poll says, this is fascinating, I've here a lot of politicians here, 31% of the likely general election voters in Maryland want to continue heading in the same direction. And 56% want to see a dramatic change of direction in Annapolis. So, I believe that the people of Maryland deserve a real clear choice for a change, and that's what we're going to give them. That's a 25-point swing in our favor, by the way, because I don't think there's any way possible that Lieutenant Governor Brown or Attorney General Doug Gansler are going to convince a majority of Marylanders that they're going to represent a dramatic change of direction. And I don't think that the people in Maryland who are so disgusted and fed up are going to vote for another 4 years for the same guys that have run our state into the ground for the past 8 years. The polls show, we were talking earlier with a couple of you about the Ehrlich race in 2002, and it's very similar. In 2002, it's tough for Republicans in the state, and the planets kind of have to align perfectly, and you've got to have the perfect message and perfect timing. I believe the timing is perfect for this race. I was involved in the effort in 2002 and helped my friend Bob Ehrlich become governor. And in 2002, you had 8 years of Glendenning fatigue when people were really tired of the direction, and we had a really weak lieutenant governor. And Bob Ehrlich was able to sneak in there. We now have 8 years of way worse numbers for Martin O'Malley. Not just fatigue, but downright anger about what's going on. Martin O'Malley's got a favorable rating of 43%. Anytime an incumbent is below 50, he's in trouble. The 2-to-1, strongly unfavorable. There's a lot of anger and frustration, and people want to see Brown cannot divorce himself from the O'Malley record. Together, by the way, Anthony Brown in our poll is winning 20 points over Doug Gansler. So he's probably going to be the nominee. In the Republican side, we're beating the nearest guy 3-to-1, 4 or 5-to-1 for some of the others. We have more support than all the rest of the guys added together. They're all great guys. They just haven't been able to put together a campaign that can win in November. And I believe that we can. We started just a little over 30 days ago. Since that time, we've gained 7,000 new members to our group, Change Maryland, in our effort. We've had more than 1,000 people contribute to the campaign. We've already raised more money in 30 days than some of these guys have in more than a year. So we're off to a great start. Frederick County is extremely important to us. We all know, you guys follow politics, we're not going to win Prince George's County. My dad's the last Republican to win Prince George's County. He's still a young guy, but that was quite a while ago, actually.
He's an old guy. I couldn't do it today.
So Prince George's County's tough, Montgomery County, Baltimore City, but we don't need to win those areas. In fact, we just shaved those margins a little bit, and we have big turnouts in places like Frederick County. I think we can really win this race in November. I believe that people are completely fed up. They're ready to vote for a different change of direction. And the current administration has a failed record of lost jobs, lost businesses, record spending increases, record tax increases, and broken promises. And it's completely unacceptable. Martin O'Malley and Anthony Brown, they call that moving Maryland forward. Have you heard that slogan? Well, I say if that's moving Maryland forward, then this November we're going to have to take Maryland back. That's the plan. So Chris is going to tell you all kinds of things about how we can get involved in the campaign, but I just want to thank you guys for being here. With your help, we can win this race. I'd like to get a crowd like Chuck had for some event sometime. Sorry I wasn't here for that. But this is a county where I believe with your help we can win, and we can win strong. And we have to rack up some numbers here to combat what's happening in some of the other areas. We only have 106 days until this primary election, believe it or not. And we're pretty much booked almost all 106 days, so it's going to be really busy for you guys. There's a lot of people in here running for office. Time flies if you have a primary race. I know a bunch of people have the luxury of no primaries here in Frederick, which is great. With this general election, I believe that it's going to be not just a tide shifting in our direction. I think there's going to be a tidal wave in our direction. You know, Blair Lee, does anybody know Blair? Blair Lee's dad was governor at one point, and he's a Democrat, he's a conservative Democrat columnist that writes for the Gazette newspapers. Blair Lee said to me that he really feels that there's so much anger and frustration out there that people are almost ready to march on the State House and throw a brick through the State House window. Now, I don't think we're actually going to do that, but he said, you know, you can be the brick. I don't have a record. I'm not a politician. I'm a guy who understands state government. I was involved in helping to run state government, but I'm an outsider, pro-business guy who wants to make a difference, and I lead the largest nonpartisan citizen organization in the state. So we got all the makings of a great campaign. I think we have a much better chance than we had in 2002, and we can't do it without your help. We just can't do it. We're gonna be up against the powers of incumbency, millions of dollars in special interest money, and the registration advantage of 2 to 1. But it can be done if everybody in this room, we work together. Now, there's a lot of great candidates here. We're going to want to coordinate with all the campaigns here in Frederick County from June until November. We all got to work as a team, regardless of who comes out of these primaries. We're going to work together, and we're going to help you guys get elected. You're going to help me get elected, and we're going to change Maryland for the better. Thank you very much.